Hi there, thanks for checking out another one of our videos. This is going to be kind of a review, one of my thoughts on this unit exactly from a repair and reliability standpoint, and should you buy one or not. First off, we are a repair center. We work on all brands of all ages of these electric fence boxes. Gallagher, Parmax, Zareba, Speedrite, Power Wizard, Dare, Cyclops. I mean, if it's electric fence box, whether it's 50 years old or new or whatever, we'll work on them. So that's our primary job. We don't sell anything. We don't sell any new units. We don't sell testers, insulators. We're just a repair shop, just a little mom and pop kind of place. So I don't get sponsored by anybody when it comes to product. I just work on stuff that gets broken and people box it up, ship it to us, we fix it, send it back, that kind of thing. So just a small little repair shop, that's all we are. All right, so my initial thoughts on these when we first started getting them in, I thought, oh, these aren't too bad, because I saw them at all the farm stores, so they must be pretty good. You know, people seem to like them and buying them. And I started getting more and more and more of these stupid things in. Zareba has a bunch of Woodstream is the main company that owns this brand. Zareba is their main brand, and then they got a bunch of other brands underneath them, but they're all the same on the inside. They've got a Blitzer version, they've got a Red Snapper version, American Farm Works. They had an older version called International Super 5000 or something like that. Looked just like this, basically with a different sticker on the front and the left and right side. And they've got a 120-mile version at the Tractor Supply. It's the same thing as 100-mile. I don't know where they get that extra 20 miles from. And then there's a 200-mile version as well of this kind of unit. It's basically double the parts. There's another set of parts that runs across up here. They just tie them together down here. And there's a 240 version as well as the American Farm Works version at the Tractor Supply stores. But the parts are the same exact parts in the parts list. There's no difference in the 100 mile, 120 mile, or 200 mile and 240 mile. I don't know where they get that extra mileage from, but I think it's just a gimmick marketing ploy more than anything. So I don't really like these things. I mean, the reason why people buy them, they sell a ton of these things because they're in almost every farm and fleet store. Almost every single Tractor Supply store sells this brand. So they sell a ton of them. So I mean, more power to them for selling a bunch of stuff that people want to buy. But if there wasn't a Tractor Supply store out there, their revenue would probably be cut down by half or better, because that's who's probably the majority seller of this brand, at least this model, anyways. You can buy them on Amazon and eBay probably as well from somebody, but this model in general and the 200 mile are not a very reliable unit when it comes to long-term reliability. Now they say they have this American flag on here saying it's American made or whatever, assembled in USA, but every single one of the parts in there comes from China. I mean, they may have the cases made here, maybe by some plastic molding company, maybe, but all their parts, electronics, the transformer, all this gets manufactured in China. And then they ship them over here in a big old container probably, and they assemble them here, and then they sell them with the American flag. Oh, we built them here. Yeah, you built them here, but you made all the crap came from China. So, which is whatever. A lot of the stuff gets made in China. But it's just, I don't know, that kind of irritates me that they say it's made here, but everything inside is made in China. Even the capacitors, the electronics and the boards, the transformer, all that stuff's China made. But some stuff made in China is probably not too bad, but these things are garbage inside. There is not a well-built unit. Let me find the part here that's the biggest Achilles heels to this brand and model of this size and the next size bigger. And that is this part right here. This is the transformer that goes inside this unit. It sits in there like that. It's how it's sitting in there right now. But what happens to this thing, this is a really crappy design transformer. Let me get you another brand transformer. Looks totally different, but it's a lot better built. That is a transformer made by Cyclops. This is for their 8-joule Cyclops Brute. And as you can see, there's just a lot more metal and copper windings and everything in there. And there's just one single core inside this one, and the plastic and everything else. But I mean, the weight difference, I mean, this thing weighs probably 3, 4, 5 pounds. This thing weighs about 2 pounds, maybe less than that. But the weight's not really the big issue. It's just what happens. People buy this model or this brand or what, or the equivalent brand of like Red Snapper or Blitzer or whatever, because they're cheap in price. I mean, you get a lot of power. It's 6 output joules. It's probably like 10 stored joules, somewhere in that range. So like a Gallagher version would be like maybe like an M1100, which is 11 stored joules. So probably outputs like 6 to 7 joules, somewhere in that range. Or like a Gallagher M800, which is an 8 stored joule, probably outputs like 5 joules. So, and those things are like pushing $250, $300, but they carry a 3-year warranty right out of the box. This one says 3-year warranty here, but if you look at the little fine details right there, this is when registered online. So you got to register. If you don't register this unit within a certain amount of time, like 30 days or whatever it is, you only carry a 1-year warranty. So you got to register it and to get that 3-year warranty. But so people buy these things because the cost of this one compared to a better built one like a Cyclops or a Gallagher or whatever, or these are probably quite a bit cheaper. I mean, this thing sells for like you can sometimes find them on sale for like about $150, $160, but on average about $180 to $200 seems to be the average price for one of these. And like a Cyclops Champ would be pretty close, or Cyclops Brute. Cyclops Champ is like 6 output, 6.5 stored, like 4 or 5 output, not 225, 245, somewhere in that range. Or you can buy a Gallagher like M800, which is about 300, and it's 8 stored joules, about 5 outputs, so it's probably somewhere in that range, probably equivalent to this one. So you can get this one same amount of power roughly for a bit less money. So when people go into these Tractor Supply store and everywhere else and buy these things because they're cheap in price, and when they work well. They put out a hell of a charge for the money, and that's why people buy them. But to get a long-term, get more than 2 or 3 years out of one, I mean, you might get 4 if you're lucky, maybe 5. That's really pushing it if you're really lucky. But typically these things fail within, I would say excluding lightning damage or a power surge, excluding that kind of stuff, because everything gets hit by that. Every brand gets hit by lightning from time to time. But excluding that, just normal use and vegetation on the fence, that kind of stuff, you might get 1 to 3 years, maybe 4 years if you're lucky. That's probably the average time for one of these, maybe 5, but 1 to 4 years probably is average life for one of these. And the biggest problem with them is this stupid part right here. Reason why, I don't know. Well, I know why they go bad. I mean, this is my theory anyway. I talked to a couple of repair guys that work on this stuff as well, and they have the kind of same conclusion. And it happens with a lot of the big Speed Right and Stay Fix units as well. What happens with these things, people want a lot of power for not a lot of money, or cheaper, want to save some money by getting a nice shock. And they think they need a big charger, on a small amount of fence. And when you look at the booklet maybe on this, or maybe the packaging on one of these, it says 100 miles of fence. Well, it's 100 miles of a single strand of wire is what they say. So if you start getting vegetation on the fence, or you have multi-strand wire or cross fencing or whatever, cut that mileage down by a lot. If you look at a Gallagher unit on their packaging, they'll give you 2 ratings. Let me go grab one real quick. All right, this is a Gallagher M360. Look at the back of actually this one gives you a whole bunch of information for multiple models. Like if you look at M800, like we were talking about earlier, An 800, 8 stored joules, like I said, 4 or 5 output. Clean fence, so clean fence is right here, and there's typical fence. Clean fence, 90 miles, 520 acres. As you can see, it's single strand with very little vegetation. Then you look over here at typical fence with multi-wire and some vegetation growing up on there. Same ME100 does 30 miles, 200 acres. So that's how they get the rating. At least Gallagher is honest with you and gives you both readings on multiple units. So look at the M1500. It's 15 stored joules. So probably outputs like 5 to 10. And these last two here are adaptive units. They adapt their power output to the fence conditions to, if there's a pretty clean fence, it might only use 30% of the power. If there's a pretty heavily loaded fence, it might use 80% of the power. But you can see like this 15 joule unit does 160 miles, 900 acres of single strand of clean fence. Or if you look over here, a multi-wire typical fence with some grass on it, does 40 miles, 360 acres. So that's where they get their miles from. They're telling you 100 miles is a single strand of wire. So people think, oh man, I only got a mile of fence on my area. I can put a 100-mile charger on there and it really hit the fence hard. Yeah, that's true. And then what happens is when people have a big, at least on this brand, and like I said, the bigger Stay Fix and SpeedRite units have this same problem, is you've got a 100-mile charger on 2 miles of fence or whatever, of single strand, or even 4 strands or whatever. These units are trying to put out all that power, and there's not enough wire to absorb all that energy. So all that excess energy gets stuck inside this unit, and this transformer can't get rid of all of it. So this transformer starts getting hot. And if you look at the front and back of one of these units, you got these little fins here, and they got little holes in them to let the thing breathe. And it's also got them on the back side too. And when this thing is sitting in here, it's sitting like this, roughly, right about there. So the other transformer on the 200-mile unit, which shows the same case, it sits right up here. So all that heat from this transformer is trying to escape out of this unit, front and back. And they do that to try to help prolong the life of one of these units, because they know the transformers are a crap unit, to say the least, and a crap design, to say the least. And they've made some changes to them. Let me go grab a brand new one. I'll show you what a brand new transformer looks like, so you can kind of see apples to apples. This is a brand new 2019 transformer. It looks just like the old one, but you can see they put all this, it's like sticky tack looking. So it's not sticky, but that's probably came out a little nozzle and squirted on here. And it's basically going across the output windings of the transformer, going across here and all this stuff. And they do that to try to keep these wires from burning up and breaking loose and then causing a failure within the transformer. So they know they've got problems. They're trying to fix it by just putting Band-Aids on it. Why don't they just come with a better built transformer or something? And these units have been around for probably 20 years. Maybe 2000 is when maybe 99. I think that's about the oldest one I've ever seen. Maybe they may have made them a little bit before that. This particular unit is a 2012 model. If you look at the first two numbers on here, it's 1, 2. This is 2012. This has been repaired twice. Someone repaired it else before us, and then we repaired it this time. So in 7 years, been repaired twice. So, and what was wrong with this one was a stupid transformer was bad. It was the primary side burned up. Output windings checked out fine, so that was good. But the primary side burned up. And when the primary side over here burns up, it burns open internally. So all this power just from the capacitor, board, all this stuff discharges through this and goes out here and spikes it up out here. This goes to your fence and ground right here. And when this burns up, and it acts like a blown fuse, basically, it burns open. So power can't get through it. So all that power is building up, and it can't go anywhere. All that power gets stored across the capacitor, the boards, all that stuff inside there, and it can't get rid of it. So something's got to give. So when the primary side typically goes bad, which is about 80% of the failure in one of these things, maybe 70% on a good day, it causes a chain reaction back into the rest of the unit, and it starts burning other parts up. And you can open them up, they'll look perfectly clean, nothing's burnt up looking, nothing smells funny, but the dumb thing doesn't click or pulse. And that's usually because the transformer's bad. Sometimes, I said about 70% of the time, it's the transformer and other parts as well. So I am not a fan of this unit. I'll work on them, to help people out, because we can fix them still cheaper than buying a new one. So we'll do that to help people out. But man, if you value your dollars, value your money, pick something else. Pick another brand. I just hate when every time one of these comes in, I get I get a few of these things a week, at least a few a month anyways, that I just know that probably a transformer or something else, or if it's not the transformer, something else is going bad that goes bad in these dumb things. So I think I replace probably 50, 60 transformers a year on these dumb things, maybe more. I don't know. I don't stock that many at one time because I can't afford to buy that many at one time. But I always have at least 3 or 4 transformers sitting on the shelf, because you never know when you get 4 or 5 of these things in, all of them might eat up all your transformers. And the 200 miles even worse, because it's got 2 of these dumb things in it. It's got 2 transformers stacked on top of each other and more parts. And I don't know how many 200-mile transformers. Sometimes you get lucky and one transformer is bad and the other one's good, but then there's still problems up on the board that goes over here. There's still problems up here, and always problems down here when this transformer goes bad typically. So you might get lucky and only have one bad transformer at 200 mile, but I would say about 50% of the time, both transformers are bad, and there's other crap that's wrong over here on the board that are up here and up here. So I don't like them things. Those things are like pushing $350, $400, and that's a 15 output joule unit, probably like 20 stored. So you get a hell of a charge. That's 200 miles of shock power at states. But I would, for that kind of money, I'd get a Gallagher or a Cyclops. I mean, you get a better built product, it's going to last you a lot longer. Going to cost you more up front, but I'd buy that one over a stupid Zareba one 10 to 1. Unless I was in a pickle and had to buy a new one, I guess if that only thing they had in stock that would work for me was on the shelf was a Zareba or a Blitzer or a Red Snapper or whatever, I guess I'd buy one. But man, if you value your dollars and your money on a unit, and you hate buying crap product because these things are cheaply built, buy a Gallagher, buy a Cyclops, buy a Paramac, buy a Speedrite, something else. I personally like the Cyclops and the Gallagher stuff. Speedrite's not bad, but you get about 5 to 8 years out of one of them, excluding Lightning. I got a little Speedrite over there that's about 2.5 years old. That's board's bad and the dumb thing. And it's only like 3 years old. But then I've had other ones just like it that are 8 years old that had the same problem. So it's those are kind of up in the air on the Speedrite and Stay Fix stuff. But so my grade on this one would be like a C minus D plus. I mean, if you got to buy one, they work good when they work, but don't expect to get 20 years or 10 years out of one. Expect to get year to 5 years at most, And if you only got like 5 acres, or you got a mile or two of fence, or 25 acres or 40 acres, you can get by with a better product that's a little bit smaller. Unless your fence is totally dogged down with a bunch of grass, and you might have to go something this big. But look at other options. Don't go down to a stupid Tractor Supply store and buy the dumb thing that's sitting on the shelf. So 120 miles of fence, made in America. No, it's not. It's Chinese parts built in America, kind of assembled in America. It's what they ought to state on there. It's not 3-year warranty, only 1-year warranty unless you register the dumb thing online. So if you got one of these, we'll work on it for you, and we can do it for a lot cheaper than buying a new one is. And we do put a 1.5 year warranty on the repairs that we do, and that's another thing that's bit us in the butt a few times, because I've had a couple of these where we work on them, and we always run these things for 24 to 48 hours with a load on them, because sometimes there's always a quirk in it. Maybe they'll work for a while and then they'll quit after a day. Sometimes they'll work for years with no problems. But I've had, I'd say in the last 2 years, 3 years or so, I probably had 7 of these things that I've had to fix, twice in 1 year, that repair time. not calendar year, but repair time. I've had ones that were repaired once or twice in 3 years, because I would say 80% of the time the problem was in the transformer. And now the only thing I can do is put the factory one in there. I mean, we got another transformer we're thinking about trying out in these things to see if it'd be any more reliable. It doesn't have the light bulb on it, so you lose your flashing light, but it is a beefier transformer. It's actually going to be one of the Cyclops. It's not this particular one, because that probably won't fit in there. Probably have to go with the next size smaller, which is a 5 to 6 joule unit, but it's the same power rating. Supposedly compare this to a Cyclops, like comparing a little Honda Civic to a Honda Accord, or whatever nowadays to a Dodge Charger back from the 60s and 70s. There's just nothing, a lot more muscle behind the older cars versus some of the newer ones. So hopefully this educated you a little bit. I'm not a big fan of them. We'll work on it for you. If you have one of these that goes bad, send in here. We'll fix it for you. Give you a free quote. And in the meantime, go buy another one of a different brand that's better quality, and then have this one maybe as a backup unit. Or Gallagher's carry a 3-year warranty. Cyclops only carry a 1-year warranty, but you can, after you get a Cyclops in your possession, it comes with some paperwork, and it allows you to buy an extended warranty. It's $25 per year that you want to get up to 4 additional years. So maximum you'll have a 5-year warranty on it, but you spend an extra $100 on it, and you have to make that decision within the first 30 days when you buy one. So that's the only catch on those. But by that time, you could have bought a Gallagher for the 3-year warranty for a little less money, probably. So, but hopefully it helps you guys out. Ask us questions. Tell us a story about what your experience was with them. Zareba, ZarebaSystems.com is their website. And I've heard horror stories on their customer service. So their customer service is kind of garbage as well. I don't particularly like the brand. We'll work on them. They can call me up and bitch me out, or write me an email, tell me, that was pretty rotten what you had to say about our stuff. Well, make a better product, and I won't say nothing bad about your stuff. So there you go. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by anybody. Gallagher, Cyclops, Speedrite, nobody gives me anything for free. I buy all my own stuff and everything. So so I have no affiliation with anybody. I have my favorite brands that I like for either repair wise or reliability wise, and this brand is definitely not one of them. So if you value your money, do not buy a Zareba 100-mile or bigger unit, or a Blitzer 100-mile, American Farm Works 100-mile or bigger, or whatever. Any of this crap like this, don't buy it. So subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up, and we'll see you on another video.